First contact through dreams. Dr. Sarah Chen never believed in psychic phenomena until the dreams began. As head of neuroscience at the Global Institute for Consciousness Studies, she had spent her career studying the rational, measurable aspects of human consciousness. But when hundreds of the world's most talented psychics started experiencing the same vivid dreams on the same night, even her skeptical mind couldn't ignore the implications. It started with Maya Patel, a renowned remote viewer in Mumbai. She contacted the Institute with an urgent message about encountering conscious beings in her dreams, beings that appeared human but existed in ways that defied our understanding of physics. Within hours, similar reports flooded in from psychics across the globe. They all described the same beings. Tall, luminescent humanoids with silver-tinted skin and eyes that seemed to contain swirling galaxies. "They're trying to reach us," Maya insisted during an emergency video conference. "But not through space, through consciousness itself. They've mastered the art of reality weaving." Her hands trembled as she sketched what she'd seen. Intricate geometric patterns that the beings used to communicate, each shape conveying complex meanings that transcended language. Dr. Chen's team worked tirelessly to document and analyze the reports. The consistency was staggering. Psychics from different cultures, speaking different languages, drew the same patterns and described identical encounters. These weren't just dreams, they were contact attempts. The breakthrough came 3 weeks after the first dreams, when Dr. Chen's colleague, Dr. Marcus Webb, developed a way to measure the unique brainwave patterns the psychics exhibited during these encounters. The patterns were unlike anything ever recorded in human consciousness studies, complex, structured frequencies that suggested direct interaction with another form of intelligence. "Look at this," Dr. Webb said, pointing to his monitor. The brainwave patterns formed perfect fractals, mathematical structures far too precise to be random. These aren't hallucinations. Something, or someone, is deliberately encoding information into human consciousness. As word of the discovery spread, the global scientific community mobilized. Research centers worldwide began monitoring these consciousness bridges, as they came to be called. The United Nations established the Interdimensional Contact Committee, with Dr. Chen appointed as its head scientist. But not everyone welcomed the discovery. Religious leaders declared it a demonic deception. Conspiracy theorists claimed it was a government mind control experiment. Military leaders worried about security implications. How could they defend against beings that could reach into human minds? Dr. Chen understood their fears but saw something different in the data. A pattern of gentle persistence, of careful attempts to minimize trauma while establishing contact. These beings, whoever they were, showed remarkable concern for human psychological well-being. The messages, when they finally began to take coherent form, were surprising. The beings identified themselves as humans, but humans who had evolved in a dimension where the fundamental forces of the universe favored consciousness over physical manipulation. While Earth humans had mastered technology, they had mastered the art of reality manipulation through pure thought. "We are you," they communicated through the dreams. "Different branch, same tree. We reach out because both our worlds face a crisis that neither of us can solve alone." Dr. Chen spent countless hours with Maya and other psychics, learning to interpret these communications. The beings, who called themselves the Luminae, explained that they had discovered Earth humans through what they called consciousness echoes, ripples in the fabric of reality created by the collective thoughts of billions of minds. As winter turned to spring, the frequency and clarity of the contacts increased. The Luminae taught the psychics how to maintain more stable connections, how to interpret their complex geometric language. Each breakthrough brought new challenges, but also new understanding. The most startling revelation came during a synchronized contact session involving 20 of Earth's strongest psychics. The Luminae shared a vision of reality that left even Dr. Chen speechless. Countless dimensions of human existence, each taking a different evolutionary path, all connected through an intricate web of consciousness. "We are not alone," Dr. Chen announced at a packed press conference. But more importantly, we are not separate. These beings represent a version of humanity that took a different path. They don't want to invade us or change us. They want to collaborate with us. As she spoke those words, thousands of psychics worldwide experienced the same vision, a bridge of pure light connecting two realms of existence, and, along that bridge, two forms of humanity reaching toward each other across the gulf of dimensions. The first contact had been made. But as Dr. Chen would soon learn, it was only the beginning. The true challenge, and the reason for the Luminae's urgent contact, was still to come. Both versions of humanity would need every bit of their combined knowledge and capabilities to face what lay ahead. As she left the press conference, Dr. Chen felt a familiar tickle at the edge of her consciousness, a sensation she now recognized as the touch of Luminae thoughts. Despite her scientific training, despite her years of skepticism, she smiled. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. The bridge between worlds. The Global Institute for Consciousness Studies had transformed. What once was a quiet research facility now hummed with activity as scientists and psychics worked side by side. In the main laboratory, Dr. Sarah Chen studied the latest readings from their consciousness monitoring equipment, while Maya Patel sat in a specially designed meditation chamber nearby. The chamber, lined with quantum sensors and neural interfaces, represented humanity's first attempt at building technology that could interface with the Luminae's consciousness-based communications. Dr. Chen had named it the Bridge, though some of her colleagues preferred calling it the Dream Engine. Maya's voice came through the intercom, steady despite the intensity of her concentration. They're showing me something new. Numbers. Coordinates maybe, but not in space. In consciousness itself. Dr. Marcus Webb's fingers flew across his keyboard, translating Maya's brainwave patterns into visual data. The holographic display above his workstation erupted with geometric patterns that twisted and folded in impossible ways. These patterns are becoming more complex, he muttered. It's like they're teaching us a new language. The Luminae had been sending increasingly sophisticated communications over the past month. What started as simple images and emotions had evolved into complex mathematical concepts that challenged humanity's understanding of reality itself. Their latest transmission suggested something unprecedented, a way to create stable consciousness corridors between dimensions. But not everyone welcomed this rapid advancement in human-Luminae relations. Outside the Institute's walls, protesters gathered daily, their signs warning of everything from alien invasion to the end times. Global markets had become unstable as people struggled to adapt to the reality of another human civilization existing in parallel to their own. Dr. Chen, a young researcher, burst into the lab, tablet in hand. You need to see this. We're detecting similar consciousness patterns emerging spontaneously in non-psychics worldwide. It's like humanity's baseline consciousness is evolving. Sarah felt her heart race. This was exactly what the Luminae had predicted, that sustained contact between the two civilizations would begin to change both. Earth humans would develop stronger psychic capabilities, while the Luminae would gain better understanding of physical manipulation. But before she could respond, Maya's voice cut through the air, tight with urgency. They're showing me why they reached out now. There's something coming. Something that threatens both our dimensions. The holographic display shifted, showing what looked like two soap bubbles slowly drifting toward each other. The dimensions, Maya continued, they're going to collide. Not just ours and theirs, all of them. Every version of humanity across every dimension faces the same threat. Dr. Chen watched as the mathematical models confirmed Maya's vision. The dimensional boundaries were weakening, creating a cascade effect that would eventually cause reality itself to collapse. The Luminae hadn't reached out for cultural exchange. They'd reached out because survival of both civilizations depended on working together. In the days that followed, the Institute became the center of a global initiative. Teams of scientists and psychics worked around the clock, combining Earth's technological prowess with the Luminae's consciousness-based science. They called it Project Unity, and its goal was nothing less than saving reality itself. Sarah found herself working closely with Illuminae, she knew as ethereal song, though that was merely the closest human translation of their identity. Through Maya's mediation, they exchanged insights about the nature of consciousness and reality. The Illuminae's understanding of quantum mechanics made Earth's greatest physicists seem like children playing with building blocks, but they lacked humanity's practical experience with physical manipulation and technology. We need both. Ethereal song communicated through Maya. Your science of matter, our science of mind. Apart, we are incomplete. Together, we might find a way. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Chen's teenage daughter, Lisa, who had been hanging around the lab during school breaks, made an observation that changed everything. "Mom," she said one evening, pointing at the holographic models, "it looks like those meditation apps you use. You know, the ones with the breathing patterns." Sarah stared at the display, seeing it with new eyes. The dimensional collapse wasn't just a physical phenomenon. It was a consciousness phenomenon. Just as controlled breathing could alter human consciousness, perhaps controlled consciousness could alter the fabric of reality itself. Working with ethereal song, the team developed a new theory. If enough humans and Illuminae could synchronize their consciousness in a specific pattern, they might be able to strengthen the dimensional boundaries. It would require unprecedented cooperation between both civilizations, a literal meeting of minds on a global scale. As Sarah prepared to present their findings to the UN Security Council, she felt a familiar presence in her mind. Over the weeks of collaboration, she had developed her own modest psychic abilities, enough to sense when ethereal song was near. "We stand at a crossroads." The Illuminae communicated directly to her mind, their thoughts carrying a warmth that transcended the clinical nature of their exchange. Two paths of human evolution, separated by dimensional barriers, now reuniting to face a common threat. There is poetry in this, is there not? Sarah smiled, feeling the weight of the moment. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries, imagining it would come from the stars. Instead, it had come from within, from another version of themselves, reaching across the dimensions. And now, both civilizations would need to reach further still, bridging not just the gap between their worlds, but the gap between what they were and what they needed to become. The fate of all reality hung in the balance, but Sarah felt oddly optimistic. After all, if there was one thing humans were good at, in any dimension, it was beating the impossible odds. Parallel evolution. The holographic display in the Institute's main conference room showed two DNA helixes rotating side by side. One belonged to an Earth human, the other to Illuminae. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the gathered scientists and government officials, pointing out the subtle differences between them. "The similarities are remarkable," she explained, her voice carrying the excitement of discovery. "We're not just distant cousins, we're the same species, shaped by different environmental pressures. Where our universe favored physical adaptation, theirs favored consciousness development." The room buzzed with discussion as Sarah revealed the next set of data. Brain scans of Earth humans who had been in regular contact with the Illuminae showed dramatic changes. New neural pathways were forming, similar to those the Illuminae had evolved naturally. Humanity was adapting, evolving in real time through mere contact with their dimensional counterparts. Maya Patel, now recognized as Earth's primary liaison with the Illuminae, sat in her customary meditation pose at the front of the room. Through her, ethereal songs shared their perspective. Our civilizations diverged at a crucial moment in human evolution. In your dimension, early humans developed tools to manipulate their environment. In ours, they developed consciousness to reshape reality itself. The implications were staggering. Two paths of human evolution, separated by the barriers between dimensions, had produced remarkably different yet complementary results. Earth humans had mastered the physical sciences, creating technology that could reshape matter itself. The Illuminae had developed mental sciences that could alter the fabric of reality through pure thought. Dr. Marcus Webb presented his latest findings on the consciousness bridges. The Lumine don't just think differently, they exist differently. Their bodies are more energy than matter, allowing them to perceive and interact with multiple dimensions simultaneously. But they lack our ability to create and manipulate physical tools. Through Maya, Ethereal Song added, "We watch your civilization grow, much as you might watch a parallel version of yourself in a mirror. We saw your wars, your triumphs, your near brushes with extinction. We saw you split the atom, reach for the stars, create artificial intelligence. All paths we never took, yet found fascinating." Sarah's daughter Lisa, whose insight had proved crucial earlier, raised her hand. "But if you could see us all this time, why didn't you contact us before?" The answer came not through Maya this time, but as a shared sensation that everyone in the room experienced, a feeling of careful restraint tinged with concern. The Lumine had waited until humanity had reached a crucial point in their development, when the ability to understand and accept the Institute had become the center of global operations, coordinating efforts between Earth's scientific community and the Lumine consciousness experts. The combined knowledge of both civilizations had led to breakthroughs that would have seemed impossible months ago, but the dimensional collapse was accelerating faster than their solutions could keep pace. "Mom." Lisa came running into the observation deck, her tablet displaying new data. "Look at this. The quantum field measurements from CERN. They match the consciousness wave patterns from the Lumine exactly." Sarah studied the readings, her scientific mind racing to connect the dots. The similarity wasn't coincidence. It was revelation. Physical reality and consciousness weren't separate phenomena. They were two expressions of the same underlying force, just as the Lumine had always known. Through Maya, Ethereal Song shared an urgent message. The barriers aren't just failing, they're being consumed. Something at the heart of reality itself is pulling everything together, like a cosmic drain. We need to act now. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Teams worldwide coordinated their efforts, combining Earth's most powerful quantum computers with the Lumine's consciousness manipulation techniques. They called it Project Harmony, an attempt to stabilize reality itself through the synchronized efforts of both civilizations. But the challenge seemed insurmountable. How could they possibly generate enough power, enough focused consciousness, to affect reality on such a massive scale? The mathematics were clear. They would need the combined mental energy of billions of minds, all perfectly synchronized. That's when Lisa, once again, provided the spark of inspiration they needed. "What about the internet?" she asked. "We already have billions of minds connected through technology. What if we could use that network as a foundation?" The idea was audacious, but it made sense. Earth's global digital network could provide the framework, while Lumine consciousness techniques could provide the means to connect minds across that framework. They would turn the entire internet into a consciousness bridge. "It's never been attempted at this scale," Ethereal Song communicated. "The risks are less than the risk of doing nothing." Sarah finished the thought. The plan was quickly approved by global authorities. Every connected device on Earth would become part of a vast consciousness network, linking billions of human minds with their Lumine counterparts. The preparation was intense but swift. Humanity had no choice but to act quickly. Government broadcasts went out worldwide, instructing people on basic consciousness techniques. The Lumine shared their most fundamental mental exercises, teaching humanity to reach across dimensional barriers. As the appointed hour approached, Sarah stood with Maya and Lisa in the Institute's main control room. Screens showed billions of people worldwide preparing to participate in the largest synchronized event in human history. The Lumine presence was palpable, their energy joining with humanity's in a way never before attempted. "Remember," Sarah addressed the global audience through the emergency broadcast system, "don't try to control it. Let your consciousness flow naturally. Think of it like a global meditation. We're all breathing together, thinking together, existing together." The countdown began. Around the world, humans closed their eyes and opened their minds. The Lumine added their consciousness to the growing network. Sarah felt the connection building. not just with other humans, but with every version of humanity across countless dimensions. For a brief moment, she experienced reality as the Lumine did, seeing all possibilities, all versions of human existence simultaneously. The effect was overwhelming but beautiful. In that moment, she understood that humanity had never truly been separated. The dimensional barriers had merely created the illusion of division. Then the real work began, as reality itself threatened to unravel around them. Two forms of humanity joined forces to face their greatest challenge. The fate of not just their worlds, but all possible worlds, hung in the balance. The only question was, would their combined strength be enough to prevent the collapse of everything they had ever known or could ever know? The answer would come soon, one way or another. Unity of human spirit. The global consciousness network hummed with the combined mental energy of billions. Through closed eyes, Dr. Sarah Chen perceived reality in ways her former self could never have imagined. Layers upon layers of existence, countless versions of humanity reaching across dimensional barriers, all striving together in this crucial moment. The Institute's monitoring systems were overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of what was happening. Dr. Marcus Webb's quantum sensors recorded consciousness waves that existence would not shatter Earth's societal foundations. "We are all human," ethereal song communicated. "But we are human in different ways. Your technology and our consciousness abilities represent two halves of human potential. Apart, we are incomplete. Together." The thought remained unfinished as alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Dr. Webb rushed to his monitoring station, his face paling as he read the data. "The dimensional boundaries are deteriorating faster than we predicted. We have weeks, not months." Sarah felt a familiar presence in her mind. Ethereal song, communicating directly now that her own psychic abilities had developed further. The Lumine shared a vision of reality itself beginning to unravel, dimensions bleeding into each other in ways that would destroy both civilizations. But within that vision was something else. Hope. The Lumine had discovered that the very differences between their civilizations might hold the key to salvation. Earth's technology could provide the physical framework, while Lumine consciousness manipulation could provide the energy and control needed to stabilize the dimensional boundaries. "We need to accelerate the integration," Sarah announced to the room. "Not just our research teams, everyone. The more humans who develop consciousness abilities, the better chance we have of preventing collapse." The next few days saw the largest cooperative effort in human history. The Institute's consciousness development techniques were shared globally. Millions of humans began practicing the mental exercises that would strengthen their latent psychic abilities. The Lumine, in turn, learned to interact with physical technology in ways they never had before. The progress was unprecedented. Children proved especially adaptable, developing abilities that bridged the gap between Earth-human and Lumine consciousness. Adults found their perceptions expanding, gaining glimpses of the higher dimensional awareness that the Lumine possessed naturally. But time was running out. Even as humanity evolved, reality itself was becoming increasingly unstable. Strange phenomena began appearing worldwide. Patches where physical laws briefly changed. Moments where multiple versions of reality seemed to coexist. In her private moments, Sarah found herself dwelling on the poetry of their situation. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe, looking to the stars for answers. Instead, they had found themselves. Another version of themselves, reaching across dimensions rather than space. The question now was whether this reunion of divergent human paths had come in time. Could the combined strength of both civilizations find a way to prevent the collapse of reality itself? The answer would determine not just the fate of both humanities, but the very structure of existence. As she prepared for another round of experiments, Sarah felt ethereal song's presence again. The Lumine shared a complex emotion that took her a moment to understand. Pride, not just in their own civilization or Earth's, but in the human spirit itself. Across dimensions, across evolutionary paths, humanity had retained its most essential quality: the ability to adapt, to grow, to face impossible challenges with determination and hope. The dimensional boundaries continued to weaken, but humanity, in all its forms, was growing stronger. The race between evolution and entropy had begun. Crisis across dimensions. Reality began to crack. There was no other way to describe it. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the Institute's observation deck, watching as auroras of impossible colors rippled across the sky. The dimensional barriers were failing faster than anyone had predicted, causing localized reality distortions across the globe. In Tokyo, the business district briefly phased out of existence, replaced by a crystalline forest that the Luminae recognized from their own dimension. In Rio de Janeiro, gravity reversed for 6 minutes, sending cars and debris floating upward before normalcy suddenly returned. The boundaries between dimensions were becoming paper-thin. We're receiving reports of similar phenomena worldwide, Dr. Marcus Webb announced, his voice tight with tension. The consciousness bridges are becoming unstable. We're losing contact with some of our Luminae counterparts. Maya Patel, who hadn't slept in days, maintained her connection with ethereal song through sheer determination. They're saying this is happening across all dimensional planes, she reported. Not just our 2 dimensions, all of them. Every version of humanity is experiencing the collapse. Sarah felt a familiar pressure building behind her eyes, the now common sensation of enhanced consciousness abilities developing. Like millions of others, her mind had begun adapting to the Luminae's way of perceiving reality. But would they develop these abilities fast enough to matter? Defied measurement, while Maya Patel maintained her unwavering connection with ethereal song, serving as a crucial bridge between Earth humans and the Luminae. The network is stable, Lisa reported, her young mind adapting to the new consciousness abilities faster than most adults. Consciousness synchronization at 97% and climbing. Through the network, Sarah felt rather than saw the dimensional distortions beginning to stabilize. The combined power of Earth's technology and Luminae consciousness manipulation was having an effect. But would it be enough? The mathematics suggested they needed even more energy, more synchronized minds, to fully halt the collapse. That's when something unexpected happened. Through the consciousness network, they began receiving signals from other dimensions, not just the Luminae's realm, but countless others. Other versions of humanity, each having evolved in slightly different ways, were reaching out to join the effort. They're connecting to our network, Maya announced, her voice filled with wonder. Every version of humanity, across every accessible dimension. They're all joining in. The consciousness network expanded exponentially. Sarah felt the presence of humans who had evolved to live in oceanic worlds, humans who had developed symbiotic relationships with artificial intelligence, humans who had become beings of pure energy. Each brought their unique perspective, their unique abilities to the collective effort. Through this vast network of human consciousness, ethereal song shared a revelation. The dimensional collapse wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was a necessary crisis, the universe's way of bringing all versions of humanity together. We were never meant to remain separated. The realization rippled through the network. The crisis hadn't been a threat to eliminate them, but a challenge to unite them. Every path of human evolution, every branch of human potential, was being called to reconnect. Sarah felt her daughter's hand grip hers tightly. "Mom," Lisa whispered, "look at the readings." The dimensional barriers were no longer just stabilizing. They were transforming. The boundaries between realities weren't sealing themselves. They were becoming permeable in a controlled, stable way. Humanity wasn't just preventing collapse. They were reshaping the very structure of reality itself. This is what we were meant to become. Ethereal song communicated through the network. Not separate civilizations divided by dimensional barriers, but one unified human consciousness spanning all possible realities. The next few hours were beyond description. As the dimensional barriers stabilized into their new configuration, humanity began to understand what they had achieved. They hadn't just saved reality. They had transcended it. The consciousness network they had created became a permanent bridge between all human civilizations, allowing for communication and cooperation across dimensional boundaries. When it was over, when the immediate crisis had passed, Sarah stood with Maya and Lisa watching a sunrise unlike any Earth had ever seen. The sky shimmered with subtle hints of other dimensions, a constant reminder of humanity's expanded existence. "So what happens now?" Lisa asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. The answer came not just from ethereal song, but from the collective wisdom of humanity across all dimensions. They would learn from each other. Earth humans would continue to develop their consciousness abilities, while the Luminae and other dimensional variants would gain new perspectives on physical existence. Technology and consciousness, matter and energy, science and spirit, all would blend together in ways previously unimaginable. The Institute quickly transformed into the multidimensional Academy of Human Development. Scientists and psychics from across dimensions gathered to share knowledge, develop new theories, and explore the vast potential of unified human existence. Sarah found herself leading a team dedicated to understanding and developing the new abilities emerging in Earth's population. Children born after the crisis naturally possessed both technological aptitude and consciousness abilities. They were the first generation of truly multidimensional humans. The global consciousness network remained active, though at a much lower intensity than during the crisis. Through it, humans from all dimensions could share thoughts, experiences, and knowledge. Earth's internet evolved into something far more profound, a bridge not just between computers, but between minds, between realities. Maya, whose role as a bridge between dimensions had transformed her own consciousness in remarkable ways, became the first head of the interdimensional communication department. Her ability to maintain stable connections across dimensional boundaries proved invaluable in establishing protocols for this new form of human interaction. The Luminae, no longer separated from their Earth counterparts, began sharing their consciousness science more freely. In return, they learned to appreciate the unique advantages of physical technology. The exchange of knowledge and abilities between all human variants led to advances that would have seemed like magic just months before. As Sarah prepared to address the first graduating class of the Multidimensional Academy, she reflected on how far humanity had come. What had started as a crisis threatening all of existence had become the catalyst for humanity's greatest transformation. "We were never alone," she told the gathered students, their faces showing the subtle signs of mixed dimensional heritage. "We were always one species, one consciousness, temporarily divided so we could develop different aspects of human potential. Now we are whole again, and our real journey is just beginning." Through the consciousness network, she felt the approval of countless versions of humanity. Earth's night sky now served as a constant reminder of their expanded existence, not just stars and planets, but glimpses of other dimensions, other realities, all inhabited by humanity in its myriad forms. The universe, it seemed, had given humanity exactly what it needed, not an external threat to unite against, but a crisis that could only be solved by recognizing and embracing their fundamental unity. Across every dimension, through every possible path of evolution, the human spirit had proven itself not just resilient, but transcendent. The age of divided humanity was over. The age of unified human consciousness had begun.